Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll be doing a review of the TM Boxeo Torres Medina boxing gloves. So stay tuned.
Uber up the styles like miles and shit. Like 60s funky worms with waves and perms. Just sending junky rhythms.
Okay guys, so today I have these Boxeo TM gloves I'll be doing a close-up on and a review, also known as the Torres Medina gloves. Smaller base company out of Mexico that makes these gloves custom, and it's not a huge operation. Very similar like New Sporting, Hernandez, Campeon, and some of the other smaller brands out of Mexico. But you can see here I got mine in 12. These are a triple cuff lace-up training glove, red, white with a dark blue color scheme. The blue is going to be the piping right here. As you can see, kind of rotate these gloves around. Very beautiful gloves, full leather construction. Give you guys a nice close-up on the palm side. You do have that grip bar there. Ventilated holes on the thumb. It uses latex foam padding on the inside. You can see the leather here is kind of wrinkly. I've been using these for a couple of weeks now. I would say the leather is kind of comparable to what you would find on Grant. I would say maybe a tier lower in terms of quality. Definitely not on Reyes. It doesn't have that nice shine that Reyes has, and it doesn't really feel as thick. It's still nice, but just not as thick and a little bit wrinkly, especially for only doing work with these for about 2 weeks now. So, but outside of that, a very nice looking glove. You do have that TM Boxeo patch on the back of the wrist right there. You know, both gloves are pretty uniform. I like the look of them. Very simple, basic, but clean cut. I like the white color on the wrist as well as the red on the back of the fist or the back of the hand, and then just white on the palm side with the navy blue piping or the dark blue piping. Really gives it a nice clean look to it. So let's put these on the scale, see how much they actually weigh. So we'll go with the left glove first. And they're right at about 11.5 ounces. And the right glove, let's take a look at how much these weigh. And the left glove is like 11.9, so right on the dot as far as weight goes. Almost 12 ounces for both of them. They're not very far off weight wise. So let's do the review. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here, and today I'll be doing a review of these Boxeo TM, also known as the Torres Medina boxing gloves. I got mine in a 12-ounce lace-up closure. This is a triple cuff design. I got it in red, white, and dark blue. The dark blue almost looks like black, but it is a dark blue depending on the lighting you're looking at. It is a 100% genuine cowhide leather construction made in Mexico. TM Boxeo is a small company based out of Mexico, much like Hernandez, New Sporting, Campeon, Gill, Zeppel, some of the older brands that have been around for a little while and may have branched off. They may have had someone branch off and make their own brand, and nonetheless they still can get the actual leather and the materials to make the gloves, and then they have the templates to make these gloves. So the gloves, like the New Sporting that I did a review on before, they were really similar to the Grant in terms of the profile and finish of the glove, and these are very similar in that regard, where they have a very similar profile both in the size of the glove and the way they design the actual hand compartment and the padding, where they use a traditional latex padding. So I really like that because it kind of gives you an alternative to using Grant, and we all know that Grant's pretty expensive. It's a pricey glove, but it's really nice to see that there's other manufacturers now that are kind of coming out with a Mexican style glove that it has more of an emphasis on the comfort and the ergonomics of the hand compartment, where you have a lot more of the traditional gloves like Torres, Casanova, where they've kind of stuck to the same formula with the old traditional Mexican style gloves, but they're not very comfortable. And a lot of people find that the hand compartments are very awkward, they're too large, they can't, if you have a medium size or smaller hands, there's too much room on the inside. In this case with this glove and like my grants, my 12-ounce grants, I feel like the hand compartment is about the right size. I have medium sized hands, and with hand wraps on, these are perfect. It doesn't move around too much in that regard. So design wise, you can actually see here, it's a really basic looking glove. The only thing I really designate this as a Boxeo TM brand is going to be the patch that's stitched on here with the red and green, kind of the Mexican colors. You do have the 12-ounce weight tag on the back of the cuff right there. Triple cuff design. Nothing on the back of the actual glove itself. You can see that the leather, I've had these gloves for about 2 weeks now, and I've used them, pretty extensively on the mitts, doing bag work on these. I haven't used these for sparring just because they're too small. But you can see that the actual leather still has kind of a wrinkle to it. I would say the leather is pretty nice. I wouldn't say it is as thick and durable feeling as Reyes. I'm actually concerned on how this wears in, just because over 2 weeks you can see kind of how wrinkled it is. So I'm kind of wondering if this is going to start cracking over a period of time, especially with this, when you're sweating and you get all that sweat on your gloves. Even though you wipe it off, with the sweat and the heat, eventually I'm kind of concerned that that's going to wear in. But nonetheless, it has a really nice feel to it. The leather is nice and supple. You can see that it does have an attached thumb right there. You do have the welted seams that you get on a lot of these Mexican style gloves that runs all the way down to the cuff and all up on the side of the glove right there. So you do have the welted seam that goes along the thumb. You do have the thumb that is stitched to the back of the hand. You have a pretty nice size large grip bar right here, so you give some good grip. You can see that some of the dye from the piping has kind of bled off into the fingertips. Not a huge deal, just a little bit of bleeding of the dye from the leather. You can see that's all done there. You have the welted seams on the edge right there. You do have a good amount of padding. I would say almost like an inch of padding that they insert inside the wrist here, which I love. Grant has the same thing. New Sporting also had the same amount of padding. I love how they really reinforce the wrist support on this, so when you tie these and lace these up, you really feel like it's locked in. So you can see that the padding goes all the way up until it reaches the piping for the thumb, and then on this side it's kind of tapered in, and then it flattens out right here. So you can see the leather right there. You do have laces that are a nice length. I'm using my lace and loops with these, but these have a nice length to where you can wrap around twice to really lock in your wrist. And then on the inside, you do have that soft canvas liner that you have on here, and I feel like it's not there's a lot of comfort in it. I don't feel like it's uncomfortable. I feel it does a good job of actually drying up pretty quickly. It doesn't soak up a lot of sweat, so I do like that inside liner. So quality wise, these gloves are really nice. I'd say that they're pretty much on par with Grant, except for the fact that they use a little bit different type of hide. And I wouldn't say necessarily bad. I feel like it's just a little bit softer than you would find in the Grant gloves, where I feel like the Grant leather is a little bit stiffer and takes a longer time to break in. I feel like the leather hide they use on this is a little bit softer and is a little bit more pliable to your hands, so you can really open and close your hands with relative ease. So I definitely like the quality on that. You can see the actual stitching is done really nicely. You have double stitching throughout. I didn't find any loose threads. In the time that I've used it, nothing has really happened. I guess if you consider the bleeding of the dye an issue, then you do have some bleeding right there. But again, that's just things you get from having gloves that are different colors. You can see right there, the fingertip area looks really nicely packed in with the leather. The leather stitching right here where the thumb meets the index finger looks really good. Welted seams are done nicely. Nothing's overcut or undercut. None of the seams are splitting. None of the actual threads coming out. So then you have the welted seams there. Everything looks really good. Laces look really nice. And then at the very bottom here, the inner side liner is done really well. You do have the cuff that's all stitched in. Sometimes you notice that some of these gloves from Mexico will have a break in the liner, and then you'll have some exposed latex. In this case, they did a really nice job of kind of sealing everything off. And the comfort of these gloves are fantastic. Probably one of my favorite in terms of just overall comfort. You put your hand in here and you make an excellent fist. You can see how broken in this glove is. That's what I really like about it. And I think that's because of both the composition of the latex foam, but because of the kind of leather they use as well. Grants are a little bit more stiff right out the box. I feel like with grants, they're broken in, but you still have to use them quite a bit to really get that leather to be pliable. I feel like with these Boxeo TM gloves, the kind of leather they use is a little bit softer. So because of that, you get more flexibility in opening and closing your hands, which is perfect for parrying shots or catching shots when you're boxing. So I really like that. So if you're looking for a really broken in Mexican style glove, I mean, these are about as broken in as you can get. The placement of the grip bar is perfect. My thumb is in a really nice position. I just wish it was about like a 1/4 of an inch or a 1/2 inch longer. I felt like the tip of my thumb is barely touching into the top of this compartment. Not jamming, but I could feel at certain times, depending on the angle of which I would hit the bag, I could feel my thumb jam just a little bit. So I wish that this thumb compartment was maybe like a 1/4 of an inch and a 1/2 inch a little bit higher up. And you can actually see when you do form a fist on how this attached thumb kind of pulls down, or should I say, yeah, the attached thumb right there actually pulls down on the top of the thumb. So because of that, it kind of collapses the compartment down on the top of your finger. So if they were to make this a little bit higher or move the strap up a little bit more so it doesn't pull it down, then it'd be a little bit more comfortable. Again, I didn't feel any much discomfort with that, just one of those things I noticed. You do have a nice little extra grip bar that's rolled on the fingertip here, that's on the inside seam. And I do like that they use the same kind of felt velour liner on the fingertip area as well as on the inside of this thumb to give you a sense of comfort. And I really like that because sometimes you have gloves where they don't put any kind of liner on the fingertip, so it just feels like you're grabbing onto the stitching, the seam itself, where here they cover that with a nice piece of felt. Yeah, so I really feel that is really comfortable. I don't feel like this piping right here on the thumb breaks into my hand at all. I don't feel like it pinches down. I don't know if you guys have watched my Everlast Elite Pro boxing glove videos, but I had an issue with that where the actual piping was too small and it would cut right into my hand, and you know, my thumb would literally go numb after like 2 rounds on the bag because of how tight that seam is. So I like how that seam is really comfortable there. The wrist support is fantastic. You know, when you lace these up, you get really nice wrist support right there, especially with it tightened down. And it has nice, good amount of flexibility with the triple cuff. It doesn't allow you to overextend, but gives you enough flexibility to feel where you feel comfortable and it's not too stiff. Now, the actual performance and protection of those gloves are really nice. They are a latex foam padding right here. So you can see it has about a medium density. They're not super soft, they're not super stiff and too dense either. So because of that, these are a perfectly balanced glove in my opinion. I felt like hitting the bag of the mitts with these, they just give it perfect crack. Good amount of shock protection. You know, they're not the most protective bag gloves in the world. You're not going to be able to compare these to like, you know, Title AR Tech or some other bag gloves where you have maximum like RB10s or RB50s where you just have a max level of protection around the knuckles. You still do feel the shock, but because of that, you also get the feedback that you want because of the way the foam disperses the actual energy that, you know, if you landing on the bag or whatever you're hitting. So I definitely like the actual combination and being kind of middle of the road when it comes to protection as well as feedback. You kind of get a good blend of both. So performs really nicely. I love the way these perform on the bag, especially on the mitts. You get a nice crack with these and you know you've made contact with whatever you're hitting. So now cost-wise of these gloves are about $140 plus or minus. There's some variables in that, and variables meaning the size of the glove, if you go with the Velcro closure, if you go with some metallic colors. So again, with a lot of these customized Mexican style gloves, you definitely have to take that into account, that not all the gloves are always going to be the same exact price. You're going to get gloves that are going to be a little bit higher in price because you go with a more exotic or a flashier color scheme. But mine were $140 and plus shipping. I went through a 95er athletic club. I believe that Boxeo TM, Juan Torres Medina, who's based out of Mexico, also has an email that you can contact him and order some gloves with him as well. So I'll leave both the links in the description box on where I bought these gloves, as well as where you can reach out to Juan Torres Medina to contact him if you want to go through directly to reaching him. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the links in the description box where you can get these gloves. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.